big dog show kicks off tonight. It's tonight, tomorrow night, right?
I think it's...
I don't know, because I don't watch it.
You really don't watch it. I thought everybody watches that.
I have nothing against it, but I just
love
can't
it.
see sitting around in front of the TV watching a bunch of frou-frou dogs run around in circles.
Well, you know, I'm looking for a dog, and I think this is a great opportunity to really check out the Norwegian elk hound. I saw him the other night. Boy, that seems like a really nice dog to have.
Isn't that a giant dog?
It's a giant dog, but it's cool. Norwegian elk hound. Thinking about it.
Let's talk about what goes on at these things. We have Susan St. John Brown. Susan, welcome to the program.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. How about yourself?
Great. And Susan, how many of these events a year do you judge? Does it vary, or is it pretty much standard?
It varies. Sometimes it's almost every weekend. Sometimes several shows a weekend, and then sometimes it's a couple weekends a month.
Susan, as a judge, what do you look for in a dog, and especially like the best in show? How do you compare like a poodle against a German Shepherd?
You don't compare the poodle to the German Shepherd. There's a written standard of perfection for every breed. It describes what perfect in that breed would be. So as a judge, you have to know that standard, that description, and you compare each dog to how closely they are perfect in their own breed. So you might have a poodle that's a 10 in its breed as compared to a bulldog that might be a 7 in its breed. So that's what you're comparing, is dogs against that written standard of perfection.
Now, do you have to train in the various dogs and various breeds? You know what I'm saying? Do you have to be tested, say, to be able to judge a pointer, then be tested to be able to judge a beagle, etc.?
Yes, it's a lifetime pursuit. You usually start out your judging career with only a few breeds, and then every year you are learning about more breeds, and then you are given the right to judge those breeds by AKC. And so it's a lifetime pursuit. There's a lot of judges that judge only a few breeds, and a few judges that are all-around judges that judge all breeds.
Susan, as far as the handler is concerned, the one that runs the dog down the runway, how important is the handler?
Well, the handler is the person that presents the dog to its best advantage. So that person is very, very good. The best handler is invisible and makes the dog appear more perfect than it really is.
But you know, with the handler, I've always noticed that the women are rather big that run those dogs. Shouldn't they be...
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. There are a few bigger women that show dogs, but there are also some real beauty queens that show dogs.
Now, are these runners, are they affiliated necessarily with the dog? You know what I'm saying, as far as being an owner goes, or can you like hire one of those people?
There are professional handlers that you hire, and there are breeder-owner handlers that have bred the dog and show the dog. There are owner handlers that bought a good dog and then show the dog.
Susan, it's got to be expensive to get one of these dogs in competition, yes?
What's expensive probably is buying the best dog or producing the best dog in order to compete with it. Then, of course, the traveling can be expensive. But the actual showing is really a sport that anyone can afford to do.
Yeah, but the grooming, that's got to cost you. I mean, you go to New York, you have to pay for the hotel for the dog, don't you?
Right, that's what I say. That can be expensive depending on where you go. But actually, we have one of the biggest dog show circuits in the country right in Louisville, which a lot of people go to. So there's a budget in dogs for anyone.
Susan, I'm going to ask you to hold if I could. I got a couple more questions I want to ask you. I want to ask about performance-enhancing drugs in the dog show business.
Oh, I'm sure they got those.
Since we're on the topic of A-Rod, I mean, do they shoot them up? Does a poodle juice, Chuck? I don't know.
Poodle juice.
Ooh, don't even. What do you got?
Northbound 75, beginning to get a bit heavier now, out of St. Bernard up to Paddock. Couple of extra minutes is all you will need. Northbound 71, not bad at all, out of downtown. Bunches up just for a second or two at the Pfeiffer Merge. Newest wreck is on Kemper at Wenton, and crews are cleaning up on Sheet at Westport. Got on-demand traffic at 700WLW.com before leaving the house or office. Chuck Ingram with traffic on 700 WLW.
Power of 5 weather, clouds moving in, rain by morning, 50s the low. That rain continuing through the morning, then turning breezy. Could see some of the clouds blow away and be partly sunny by afternoon. 60 the high tomorrow. It's 57 now. It's 700 WLW. That Westminster Dog Show starts tonight. Is that I don't even know who broadcast that. Okay.
What about Animal Channel?
It's USA for the first hour, then it moves to CNBC.
Yeah,
right?
whatever it is, I'm watching. I'll find it.
We have a judge, Susan St. John Brown, not of the particular dog show tonight, but she does this for. Is this for a living or is it a hobby, Susan? What? How does that work?
All of the above. I've been breeding and showing dogs for 40 years and judging for 20 years. I judged Westminster 3 years ago, and my Ethan hounds are there this year and did well today already.
Susan, I always wanted to ask a judge, and I watch it every single year, the Westminster Dog Show. Being a judge, is it really necessary to touch the dog's testicles?
Yes, and the reason is if they do not have two, then they are disqualified from competition.
Aha.
If they have three, they'd be disqualified from competition.
I think three would be kind of, that would be neat.
Three, that'd be a pretty cool dog. I'd put that thing at a show.
And do the dogs ever mind that? It seems like they might.
You got to train them to not,
right?
You know.
Well, it's not like
you better pet them first, as the old joke goes.
Yeah, you just touch them. You don't grab them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard me, Susan, before as we came out of or going into the break there. We have this big thing with Alex Rodriguez, and you hear performance-enhancing drugs in sports and such. Is that a problem in dog shows?
No, it sure isn't. The problem is finding a really great dog that has all the things that it takes to be a great dog. And that means that they're physically beautiful and that they're mentally strong so that they can hold up to showing.
Susan, you've seen a lot of dogs. You've seen them all. What dog do you think would make the best pet? I mean, I'm actually in the market for getting a new dog. My dog froze to death a couple of weeks ago, Slider. But I'm looking, what would you recommend?
Yeah, and make it durable, as you can hear.
Well, I have Iberian hounds because they don't shed and they don't slobber and they don't, there are a few things that I like, but it depends on your needs.
Well, I want one really smart. Let me say I want one really smart because I'm going to name a Meinstein.
See, he's got a name. He doesn't have a dog yet.
Well, that's a start, isn't it?
What about a golden retriever?
Goldens are good. Like I say, there's a lot of good things about each breed. You need to make a list of the things that work well for you in your lifestyle for a dog.
I don't want one of those toy dogs. I don't like
yippy things.
The yippy thing. I don't want that. What about a Norwegian Elkhound?
They shed a lot. They're a lovely dog, but they do shed. So there are things like that you have to think about before you get a dog.
Now, Susan, you said
you're interested in.
That you would judge the Westminster show. Is this for a dog judge? Is this like refereeing the Super Bowl, or are there bigger shows in the world, or is this pretty much the king?
It's pretty much the king. There are 3 big time shows in the country that are really huge to do. Westminster being probably the first.
If you win Westminster, what's the prize?
Yeah, I was wondering about that though.
It varies, but the winning Westminster is being able to wear the Super Bowl ring. Yeah. That's the prize.
What did you think of the Beagle won last year, right?
Yes, Uno.
Don't you think he's very overrated?
Dog. No, beautiful dog. And his sire was a beautiful dog. I've judged both of them and given them some nice wins.
Who's the favorite this year?
Probably the Pointer is the favorite. The Pointer won Best in Show at the Eukanuba Invitational in California here a few weeks ago. So I would say probably the Pointer. You
know what? I actually saw that at Animal Planet. That is a very, very nice dog.
Yeah, I've judged that dog also.
Yeah.
Susan St. John Brown, we appreciate you taking time to talk to us.
Well, thank you very much, and you have a great day.
No, will she be like in front of her TV, like if we were watching the Super Bowl and she'll have wings and ice cold beers and that?
Do you think it's really necessary for the judge to touch the testicles?
That sounds like a made-up rule that some sicko decided needed to be done.
Cop a feel? Poor dog probably feels violated, I'm sure, if you asked him.
We got news coming up here on the home of the Red, 700 WLW.